to the Midnight Creep Out. I am your host and creep mistress, Jessica Bryant, and as always, I am joined by my friend and yours, Ben Scaria.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. Are you ready to get creeped out?
I'm very ready to get creeped out. Yeah. I got the tingles already. Just in the brief time you spent sort of like whetting my appetite for what we were going to do, it freaked me out already. So.
I'm so excited. Hey, Allison. Hey, Tina. So, I turned my fan on, Ben. Let me know if it's like reverberating or something. It's on very lightly.
Yeah, I don't hear it. It just adds a little flicker to the background, which makes it extra creepy. Which is
all good. Of my candles make it really hot in here, really fast. So, so originally my plan was to talk about the missing 411, right? So, this is a phenomenon of people going missing in high numbers or abnormal numbers in the national park system in the United States. But I feel like, hey D, hey MLab. I feel like it makes more sense to start at the very beginning, which, as Julie Andrews will tell us, is a very good place to start.
That's a great place to start.
Yeah. And you've kind of heard me talk about this a little bit. I briefly talked about like the Kentucky, West Virginia goblins on an episode of What's Going On, which you can watch here on Tuesdays at 9 p.m., right here on 2MB Studios, hosted by Ben Scaria. So it might be a little bit of a rehash for you, but I really wanted to go in depth this time. So we're going to start right where I feel like the story begins in 1955 on a farm outside of Hopkinsville, Kentucky.
Ooh, here we go. All right.
Ben, do you remember any of the stuff about the Kentucky goblins that I talked about? Do you remember that at all?
Just basically that a bunch of people from a certain area had sort of gone missing, and that there were reports that there were these creatures living underground in a cave system. Yeah, that multiple people had seen it separate. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it.
Okay.
That's it.
Good. Yeah. So that's a little foreshadowing of what we're going to talk about next time. This, I feel like, is some really important prerequisite knowledge that makes the rest of it even weirder and creepier and like scarier.
Okay.
So I'm going to attempt to share a window on my screen.
I got faith.
I'm just sharing my PowerPoint slide. Okay. How does it look? All right, great. So, does it matter if I change this? No, it doesn't matter. Okay, good. Okay, so here's Kentucky, obviously. This is how Hopkinsville, Kentucky is right down here. Bowling Green's right there. Nashville, blah, 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 right? Okay. So, this, right now, what we're going to be talking about is the Kelly-Hopkinsville encounter, or what I like to call the Kelly Goblin incident.
Ooh, the Kelly Goblin incident.
This is how I always talk. How I always think of it. So this is a really weird story where there's like a UFO and like weird little goblin aliens and 11 people who are witnesses and like crazy stuff. This is also what many people credit as the genesis of the idea of little green men. Kind of, like the idea of like little green men who come from like Mars, or whatever, even though I'm pretty sure there were movies about that stuff way before 1955. Because we definitely had color in 1955. And I remember those like black and white movies. I don't know. Anyway. Okay, so this takes place in Kelly Township, which was a small community of about 200 people located roughly 7 miles north of Hopkinsville, Kentucky. And this was where the Suttons kept their home. They are a family who ran a small farm. So there's the Suttons, so there's like a whole cast of characters, but we're only really going to talk about 3 of them, or really 2 of them. So it's the Sutton farm, then Mrs. Sutton, like the matriarch of the family, her family, the Lankfords, were also there. And then family friends, Billy Ray Taylor and his wife were also there.
Oh, Billy Ray Taylor.
Billy Ray Taylor. Yeah, what a great name, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. So just before 8 p.m., Billy Ray, so this all happened on August 21st, 1955. Okay. So get into the mindset. It's a steamy late summer evening, right? You can hear. That's a high school quarterback. Yeah, absolutely. That's definitely a high school quarterback. Good old Billy Ray. Hey, Jambalaya. Thanks for joining us. Okay, so just before 8 p.m., Billy Ray Taylor goes out to fetch a pail of water, as it were, from the well on the land. And he looks into the sky and he sees a silver flying saucer. Oh, so okay. What a great photo is this, first of all, okay? This is Billy Ray.
Yeah, if you had not told me that, if you had just said, pick out the Billy Ray from these 3.
Yeah.
That is, of course, Billy Ray. The guy in the center, is it just me or does he kind of look like Tom Cruise a little bit?
I was thinking Andy Griffith. I feel like he looks like Andy Griffith. I feel like this could have been taken from like behind the scenes of the Andy Griffith show.
That could be from Mayberry, yeah.
Yeah, right. But this is actually Lucky Sutton. So he is the eldest son of the Suttons. Oh, Jambalaya was thinking Dan Aykroyd.
Yeah, we got some Dan Aykroyd. We got some Uncle Rico from Napoleon Dynamite.
Uncle Rico, okay. Okay, so this is Lucky, and this is a picture of them describing, what they saw to the media. Anyway, okay, so Billy Ray looks into the sky, and I know, right? This is an artist's rendition, okay? Okay, so he saw a silver flying saucer, quote, trailing fire behind it with all the colors of the rainbow, end quote, coming from the south. It was silent, and it seemed to be burning as it hovered briefly in the sky, before it went straight down to the north of the house. Billy Ray ran back into the house to tell the Suttons and everyone else what he saw. There were 11 people in the house that night, ranging from children aged like 7. There's like a 7 and 11-year-old and a 12-year-old, then some like young adults. Billy Ray was 21. I don't know how old Lucky was off the top of my head. And then like his mom, yeah, hey Tara, his mom was like in her 70s. At first, no one believed him. This is a recurring theme. At first, no one believed him, not even his wife. He didn't want to like go investigate, saying that he didn't want to get involved. He assumed whatever he saw must have come from Campbell Air Force Base, which is located about 40 miles to the south.
It's your in-law, Pick and Flick It. Hey, good to see you. Thanks for being here.
Hey, Pick It and Flick It. You can pick your friends and you can pick your nose. And you can pick it and flick it. So Billy Ray assumed the police or military would come to investigate. But after an hour, nobody had. Suddenly,
so he just thought to himself, I can't be the only person who saw this.
Right.
Somebody had to see it.
Right.
Yeah.
He assumed that it came from the Air Force Base, right? Because I don't know if I can make it go back. Wait, hold on a second. So there's an Air Force Base. So if this is Hopkinsville, there's an Air Force Base like right down here. Okay, there's the Campbell Air Force Base. So he thought, it's 40 miles. He thought, whatever it was must have come from there. It didn't. Spoiler alert, it did not. So suddenly, the family dogs start going wild, right? They're on the front porch. They're barking, growling, and they're pointed to the north, right? Which is where this like UFO descended and disappeared. But the dogs wouldn't get off the porch. Hey, King Senior. The dogs did not want to get off the porch. They were like kind of freaked out by it. So Billy Ray and Lucky Sutton looked to the north and saw a faint glow that moved up and down about 5 feet beyond the trees, right? So there's like foliage covering, it's beyond the tree line. So it's like moving up and down. As the silvery glow drew nearer, the dogs turned tail and went inside.
What?
And yeah, they were like, fuck this.
We're out.
That it's bad if your dog is like, whenever animals, right, are like, no, I gotta go. No. Yep. Like something bad's about to happen. So as the silvery glow drew nearer, Billy Ray and Lucky were able to make out a humanoid creature, 3 to 4 feet tall. Wait, hold on. There we go. 3 to 4 feet tall, with thin limbs, a big head, bat-like ears, and large, round, glowing eyes.
Y'all, this picture has become ubiquitous in American culture, right? In different ways. Like this is Bat Boy. This is just right, like Little Green Men. Yeah, like this
the
is
grays, the gray aliens that people talk about, minus the ears. It's gray.
Yeah, and this is the first appearance of it, at least that we know of in American culture, modern American culture.
Absolutely. Billy Ray later described it as having, quote, an oversized head, almost perfectly round. Its arms extended almost to the ground. Its hand had talons, and its oversized eyes glowed with a yellowish light, end quote. The two men ran back into the house to arm themselves. This is obviously from the Waco News Tribune, a news article from, I believe, the next day, 2 days later. So yeah, the 23rd. Little Green Men harass Kentucky family farm. Very fun. Very
harassed Kentucky family.
Yeah, they were harassed. They were accosted. They were harassed. That head is the Alienware logo. You're right.
Yeah.
So they told the family what they'd seen, and at first, Ma Sutton, right, who I think actually she's a Lankford, but whatever. Lucky's mother was like, nah, like what the fuck, like because it's the 50s. They're always like joking around. They live on a farm. They have electricity, but they don't have water. Obviously, they're getting water from a well outside. They don't have radio. They don't have a telephone. So these kids, they got to keep themselves entertained somehow. So they're always doing crazy shit.
Telling
right?
stories. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think she said something like, it's not a direct quote, but it was something like if you're getting your guns out, then the joke has gone too far. is like what she said to them.
She's not wrong. That's
Yeah,
just good advice in general.
that's true. That's true. Let's see. Lucky armed himself. I've seen uh, conflicting reports of a rifle or a pistol. And then Billy Ray armed himself with a shotgun. It's always a shotgun. Sometimes
Always.
it's a 12 gauge, sometimes it's a 20 gauge. So Lucky went out to the front porch. Billy went back to the back door. And so, and Lucky's mother is like, what the fuck? Like, what are you guys doing? So obviously, at first she had been skeptical, but then all of a sudden she screamed bloody murder when she saw the creature through an open window. So it like pokes up in the fucking window. And she's like, what the fuck? Let's see what other pictures I have. Here's another picture. This is JC Sutton, Lucky's half brother.
That looks like Stitch.
This one does look like Stitch.
From Lilo and Stitch, just
You're
the
right.
head especially.
You're absolutely right. It's hilarious. So Lucky's mother later described the face to police as, quote, merciless. Lucky rushed back inside and shot at it through the window and said it sounded like a bullet hitting a metal bucket. Like a tang, right? He had hit the creature, but the bullet had not penetrated its flesh. Weird. The creature floated backwards away from the house and did a somersault, then crawled away into the tree line. He said it didn't quite touch the ground and that it made a rattling sound as it moved, like, quote, a bag full of pennies.
What?
I know, right?
You know that noise we all know.
Yeah, a bag full of pennies.
Bag full of pennies.
I feel like a bag full of pennies is kind of heavy. It doesn't move too much. But I don't know. Oh, wait, we haven't gotten there. Yet. Okay, hold on. That's a really good picture. There are so many artist renditions of this shit online. So many. You can see our background here is got that way. That this is an artist rendition. You can see the yellowy glow of its eyes. There's so many on the internet. It's very fun. Bob Gimlin is a guy who on YouTube. He has a YouTube channel. He talks about he got an artist to draw like all kinds of like crazy illustrations of like the incident, like what happened that night. It is quite entertaining. You should check it out. So Billy Ray and Lucky went back out onto the porch to guard the house from more creatures, but half an hour passed uneventfully. Poor aliens, I know, right? Then suddenly, an arm came down from the roof of the porch and grabbed at Billy Ray's hair. Lucky ran out onto the lawn and shot at the creature. It was hit, and again, it like floated to the ground, and then again crawled back into the trees. Lucky continued to shoot at it as it fled into the tree line. They said this creature looked different from the first, so that's how they knew that it was more than one. Right? Never mess with the hair. I don't know. Did Billy Ray have great hair? Let's check out Billy Ray again. He's covering it with a hat. You can't really tell.
Covering it with a hat after the alien grabbed it.
I know, right? I'm never going to show my hair again. Never again.
That's terrifying, though, because it meant the alien was just up there for like a half hour, just like hanging out on the roof.
Right. This really gave me some flashbacks to Signs. Like, I guarantee M. Night Shyamalan, like, fucking read all about this incident before he wrote Signs.
100%. By the way, that's Lucky, Tina, the one in the middle, who you want to run your fingers through the hair. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. The one in the middle, the one who looks like Andy Griffith, he's always pictured with his shirt undone. I think because people use that picture, right? They use this picture as like a reference for when they're drawing them. And because his shirt is undone in this picture, his shirt is always undone in every fucking artist rendition ever. So, like, good for you, Lucky, I guess, right? I mean, for the 50s?
Yeah.
I'd tap it.
He's not bad looking.
Right? Lucky looks good. I mean, Billy Ray.
We've all decided he's got Andy Griffin, Tom Cruise, Uncle Rico.
He looks good. Lucky in Love, Sutton. Get out of here, AD. What's the next picture? Okay. So this is the house where all of this was taking place. Here's fucking who I assume is Billy Ray with his fucking shotgun, like looking up at the fucking. This has got to be the back door because there's no porch. Ridiculous. Okay, so Billy Ray has just had his hair caressed by one of these creatures. So another hour passes with no activity. The adults in the house conferred with each other about what they had seen and what they should do. The house had no electricity. The house had electricity, but no water or telephone. So it's not like they could just get on the phone and be like, what the fuck, right? And that also meant that they like weren't listening to the radio. They obviously didn't have a TV. They're in like a 3-room house in like bumfuck Kentucky, right?
As far as they knew, this was an invasion.
Right. This was like War of the Worlds to them, except it was happening in front of their faces.
Yeah.
Not over the fucking radio. So they continued to stand guard on the front porch. Then once again, the family was visited, this time at the loft window, where the children began screaming when a creature with large glowing eyes began tapping on the glass. Tap, 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 tap. And gesturing at them. The adults ushered the children into a rear bedroom when a window shattered in the living room. No one saw anything touch the window. It just shattered. Lucky then decided to open all of the windows, deciding that he wanted to be able to shoot at the creatures without littering the floor in glass.
You can't break the windows if they ain't there.
Right. So for the next hour or so this is going on for a long time, the creatures continued to peek in the windows and climb on the roof, right? Everyone's like freaking out. People are screaming. Children are crying.
This is 100% signs.
Yeah, right? Lucky's mom is like kneeling on the ground in the living room praying to her Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. It's absolute mayhem. Billy Ray, Lucky, and Lucky's half-brother, JC, shot at the creatures when they saw them. Lucky's mother later said that the only reason more of them weren't shooting was because they were afraid of friendly fire. Around 11, and also, I don't think I mentioned this, but they estimated that there were somewhere between 11 and like 15 creatures, I think, like at the same time. So like they can hear them like scrambling across the roof and they're like peeking in the windows and it's like absolutely crazy, right? Terrifying. Around 11 p.m., the creatures lost interest and stopped approaching the house. The family took this opportunity to flee their home and piled into their vehicles and headed to the Hopkinsville Police Department. At first, again, for the third time, the desk officer on duty thought it was a practical joke. But after continued questioning resulted in consistent answers from different members of the group, it became clear that they were genuinely terror-struck. Police Chief Russell Greenwell said, quote, "Something scared those people, something beyond reason. These aren't the kind of people who normally run to the police for help. What they do is reach for their guns." Which they did, obviously, but that fucking wasn't working. So one of the men, it didn't say who, had a pulse of 140 beats per minute as measured by an investigator. So like legit, like, you know, his heart was pounding. He was like,
and that was hours later.
Right. This is a bare minimum a half hour later, right? Around 1 a.m., the family returned to the home, escorted by 2 police cruisers. So at first, the police thought like, okay, these people are on drugs. They've been drinking. They also thought maybe that it was like a shootout with like like fucking
bootleggers,
yeah, something like that. Yeah, exactly. Wait, who are the Hatfields and McCoy style? That's what I was trying to think of. But it didn't turn out to be that. So they go with the 2 police cruisers. The state police show up. The military police from Campbell Air Force Base show up. The police were expecting to find evidence of drug use or alcohol, or like I said, or perhaps a few with another family, but they didn't find it. All they found were shell casings, broken glass, and bullet holes. In fact, the mom, the grandma, I guess I should be saying, Lucky's mom, said that alcohol was not allowed in the household. She was a Christian woman. Uh,
Just guns, no booze.
right. In the police report, so I haven't seen the police report for myself, but it's been stated, or other people have said who have seen the police report, that the police report did detail like all the stuff that I've said, like that they were floating and that, you know, like bullets deterred them but didn't seem to like injure them really. The police report also mentioned that there was a quote, luminous patch of ground in the tree line that glowed when you looked at it from certain angles.
What? That doesn't make sense, but okay.
I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
The day after the incident. Okay. So then the police leave. Then around 2:30 in the morning, the creatures come back again, and it's not as dramatic as it was the first time, right? But they like, you know, they're still like, what's going on in there, you know? So the next morning, where am I? Okay, so the day after the incident, police investigators returned to the farmhouse, searching for evidence of a saucer landing, footprints, blood trails, scratch marks on the roof, but they didn't find anything. Bud Ledwith, a local radio station employee, interviewed the adult eyewitnesses and made drawings. So he's the one who drew all those pictures that I showed you. Oh, here's another artist rendition.
What?
So here's Billy Ray. Here's Lucky. Well, his shirt is buttoned this time, it looks like. And then, you know, obviously the creatures. Here's all the people in the house. Very scary.
A little gargoyle-y.
I know, right? Very. Oh, wait, hold on. We haven't gotten there yet. Okay, so according to wait, who's Davis? Maybe it was Ledwith. Okay, he was impressed by the remarkable specificity and consistency, even though the men who gave him the accounts of like what they looked like were away from the farmhouse all day, unable to coordinate with the others. I'm not saying. I'm just saying.
Yep.
Because so. I don't think I said this part yet. Oh, yeah. The Suttons actually moved away to Evansville, Indiana, as soon as they were able to. The next morning, when the police actually showed up, they weren't there. And so the police had to like go talk to the neighbors. And they said that as soon as the sun rose, they, again, packed all their shit into their cars and they GTFO'd.
Just out.
Right out of there. They were like, fuck that. Yeah. They had like, yeah, they abandoned the house. They didn't even like bother to sell it or anything. They just abandoned it.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So we haven't talked about Project Blue Book yet. But Project Blue Book did briefly investigate this incident. Project Blue Book was a government, you know, it was like a top secret at the time government program that looked at, this was in 1955, August 21st, 1955, that, so Project Blue Book looked into, they were trying to figure out, like, what the heck with the UFO phenomenon, right? So, you know, this wasn't the first, again, this is why I feel like this can't be the first time someone said something about, like, little green men, because Project Blue Book was already a thing, you know? Like, I don't know. But anyway, so... before I get into possible explanations, Ben,
yes,
what are your thoughts? What are you feeling, chat? What are you guys thinking? What the hell is going on here?
What is going on here, right? I mean, clearly the whole family got spooked enough to abandon their house, right? So it's not like it's like one person. It's a group of people, and you can have like mass hallucinations or group sort of things like that, but it's usually a larger group at that point, right? Right. This is like a family who's like, yes, this happened to us, right? I'm trying to, the logical part of my brain is trying to think about like pack animals that hunt that way, I guess, right? But like wolves doesn't make sense. It doesn't fit the profile. Coyotes don't fit the profile. They don't look like anything like that. So like, who knows what the hell they were? I mean, this one freaks me out because it wasn't one person seeing something it was an entire family seeing something, and then saying, "I don't actually care whether you believe me. I'm never going back to that house again."
Right. So this is what I always say, right? So what do these people have to gain or lose, right? They left their fucking house. They left their farm. They left their house. They had to start all over again in another state. So they kind of had a lot to lose, you know? Who fucking piles their 7-year-old and their 11-year-old and their 12-year-old in a car at 11 p.m. to go to the fucking police station? You know what I mean? Like, for like,
yeah,
right? That's like, I don't know. It's totally possible, but I feel like it's not super likely.
it's a little weird. Yeah, I think it's a little weird.
Because these people, they didn't really make a whole lot of money. So yeah, right, King Senior, I like this. It sounds legit, but space women would be nice. Can they be space women every once in a while? You know?
It's true. It's always spacemen. Spacemen.
But however, that could just be our patriarchal minds projecting our ideas of gender onto these creatures. They could be genderless.
Most likely they are genderless.
Right?
Would be my guess, yeah.
Right. So possible explanations. Okay, so while the incident eventually attracted the attention of Air Force UFO investigation program Project Blue Book, documents suggest that its team never officially pursued the matter beyond checking in with Fort Campbell, who had briefly been at the scene the first night. Project Blue Book officially called it a mix of UFO hysteria and a hoax. Now, hello, Della Dale. Bored airman messing with townsfolk. Yeah, I mean, dressed up as 4 foot tall or 3.5 foot tall fucking... yeah, okay, sure. They were little people. For some reason, the Air Force was recruiting little people and painted them silver. So one of the reasons that people started to be like, oh, they're making it up, it's a hoax. So when this kind of stuff, especially at this time, hit the news, and we talked about this with Mothman, right?
Yep.
That people start showing up in droves, right? They're showing up, they want to like investigate it for themselves. So for the first couple of days, you know, some of the adults came back to the house because they were trying to like clean things up and like settle their affairs. And I think by 3 months, they were all gone. They just abandoned the house. So they had put up no trespassing signs, but it didn't work to keep people away. So they started charging people 50 cents to like park their car and like be able to like walk around. And so then people were like, oh, they're making it up. Like, they just like lost all their income because they're leaving this fucking farm behind. Like, yeah, I don't blame them for charging people 50 cents for fucking looky lookers. I don't know, whatever. Looky loos.
Yeah, I hear you.
So this is Glennie. What was her name? Glennie.
Look at her.
What the fuck? Langford. Glennie Langford. So she's a relative of Lucky's mother.
Glennie Langford. Right? What a name.
Glennie Langford. She. Hold on, I'm just gonna enlarge this a little bit so I can read it. So she obviously was there that night. This is her official statement to Project Blue Book. So, and it looks like this was taken, it says 55. Oh yeah, so this was taken literally the next day. So this is the next day, 8/22/55. So my name is redacted, but it's Glennie Langford. And I live at the farm, right? On Sunday night, August 21st, 1955, about 10:30 p.m., I was walking through the hallway, which is located in the middle of my house, and I looked at the back door to the south and saw a bright silver object about 2.5 feet tall appearing round. I became excited and did not look at it long enough to see if it had any eyes or if it moved. I was about 15 or 20 feet from it. I fell backwards and then was carried into the bedroom. My 2 sons and their wives and their friends, blah, 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 were all in the house. So this is Billy Ray, age 21, and Billy Ray's wife, 18. We're all in the house and saw this little man that looked like a monkey. About 3:30 a.m., I was in my bedroom. So this is after the police had come and gone. I was in my bedroom and looked out the north window and saw a small silver shining object about 2.5 feet tall that had its hands on the screen looking in. I called for my sons and they shot at it and it left. I was about 60 feet from it at this time. I did not see it anymore. I have read the above statement and it is true to the best of my knowledge and belief.
I don't like that.
I mean, they're nothing if not consistent. right?
Yeah. Very consistent.
Okay, so then another possible explanation. So in 2006, Joe Nickel, senior research fellow of the International Committee for Skeptical Inquiry, reviewed the accumulated evidence. He matched Taylor's UFO sighting with similar reports from that day, which suggested a small meteor in the vicinity. So that could be what it was. Could be.
Could be.
Could be. Maybe. He also, but this is in 2006, so like, who knows, right? He also suggested that the creatures were great horned owls. This is a great horned owl at night. So great horned owls, right? They do have large round eyes, which would glow at night. They do have pointy ears, but they're real small. They're like little tufts of feathers, right? The only thing is that they're 1.5 to 2 feet tall. They're not silver. They do not have arms, right? So okay, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, that to me is probably the closest explanation. Is that there is a pack of owls, right?
There's a flock of owls. Owls are solitary creatures. They do not travel in groups, right? People were saying like, oh, sometimes they're aggressive when they're defending their nest, but like not for 4 hours at a time, not from 8 p.m. until I guess it was 9 p.m. until 11 p.m. and then again, like, it's crazy, right? That doesn't make any sense.
That's crazy.
Yeah. To me, it doesn't make any sense. And then my favorite is Air Force Major John E. Albert suggested at the time that it could have been a troop of monkeys, possibly escaped from a circus, perhaps painted silver as part of an act, and that when they escaped, they were just doing what monkeys do. They couldn't find food, so they begged humans for food.
It's what monkeys do.
Owl arms, the next Kentucky delicacy. Troop Monkey Hills. I mean, could be. Could be monkeys. I don't think so. I love that. The idea that this Air Force major is like, you know what? It could have been silver monkeys.
Could be.
Why were they silver? Part of an act.
Probably an act.
What were they doing? Like monkeys do. It's what they do.
It's what they do.
Monkeys. It's what they do.
Monkeys. It's what they do.
So, those are the possible explanations. Obviously, that's the end of it. Obviously, oh shit. Oh, save. I want to save it. So obviously, the other possibility is that it's like aliens or goblins or creatures that live under the fucking ground. So how does this relate to the missing 411, you may ask? What?
I'm assuming you're going to tell me right now.
Yes, I am. Well, so stories of goblin-like creatures abound in Kentucky and West Virginia. So obviously those areas are also known for their caves, but also for like mining. There's a lot of mining that happened out there. And it's been speculated that there could be creatures like this who live in the cave systems that span the United States. And it may surprise you to know that the maps of the cave systems and where those missing 411, like the missing people disappear from, are quite similar. They're quite similar.
Shocking.
So, yeah, shocking, right? So it's interesting. So, but to hear more about how these things relate and to hear more about the missing 411, you're just going to have to tune in on July 9th at midnight to hear the rest of the tale. Because this is just part 1. Yeah, if you want part 2, you're going to have to come back.
Yeah.
TBD, I think that's a great idea. Monkeys, it's what they do. As a QAW ad. Why not? So Ben, what did you think? What's going through your mind right now?
I was just trying to look to see if there were like any. I just like really did a quick Google search for like weird Kentucky, just to see if there's like some sort of creature that people and there's not, right. There's not like there are these sightings and things, but there's nothing in my brain that can accurately sort of fathom what this was, right.
Was it the chupacabra? Sounds like an SCP.
Yeah, it was probably not the chupacabra, but just because chupacabra doesn't have arms, as far as I know, like arms.
Well, the chupacabra is
Well,
kind of like
it's
it's
got
like
a body.
right. It's four-legged, I believe, but it's a quadruped.
That's
It's not a
that's what I
biped.
mean. But it wouldn't like be able to like
Right.
reach down and
It
grab you.
wouldn't be climbing on the roof. Yeah.
But yeah, so like freaky little children is also something I was thinking, like some sort of albino child, lending credence to the underground theory. If you're underground, you might be albino or pale, very, like super pale in a way that might look otherworldly. Uh, but yeah, this one really creeps me out because it's not one person. It's not like multiple people, but at different times. It's like, here, we all saw this at the same time. I suppose the entire family could be in on it, but again, to the point of like displacing them from themselves from their house seems like a really
right
buying into it, really playing into that in a way that doesn't make sense to me. So I believe these people 100% believe that they were attacked by these creatures, and I don't see any evidence that tells me that they're wrong. So I mean, it's very creepy. It freaks me out. I wonder if their insurance policy covered it. Probably not at the time. I bet you could get that now, though. I bet you could find a place to cover you now for that.
Is alien invasion an act of God? Gosh, I don't know, but I am going to ask, should I ever buy a house? I will definitely ask. And then I will be surprised to find out that all of a sudden my homeowner's loan has been withdrawn, but it just is what it is.
This is just a random aside, but when I first got renter's insurance, I read the policy and learned that nuclear war is not covered by renter's insurance, which is hilarious to me because I'm like, if Boston gets nuked, the last thing I'm worrying about is my stuff.
Right.
Probably. But then I guess at some point I will, if I survive. I'll be like, yeah, I need my stuff back. And my insurance company will be like, nope, that was a nuke. We don't cover those.
Yeah, right? What the hell?
We're so weird. Yeah.
There was a Nathan For You episode where a realtor was certifying her houses as ghost free. How do you even do that? How can you even say, you can't guarantee that?
In fact, that seems like you're asking for trouble.
Right.
If I was a demon, that's exactly where I would go if I heard that shit.
She brought an exorcist. Okay, but no. It can't have been an exorcist because exorcisms have to be approved by the fucking Vatican.
Church
sanctioned. They have to, yes, by the fucking Vatican itself. So and it's very rare. Ask Jess Cashin, our local Catholic expert.
Ghostbuster seal of approval.
Yeah, the Ghostbuster seal of approval. Okay, the guy was a priest. But still, you're a priest. You're not a medium. What did they hold a seance? Did they like Ouija board and nothing came up? I don't buy it. I don't buy it. The planet stayed still the whole time. I don't buy it. Yeah. And like you were saying, Bat Boy, right? Bat Boy clearly derived from these images, right? Or, it's also possible that multiple people saw the same thing, and while obviously Bat Boy does like National Enquirer, fucking Bat Boy, hold me Bat Boy, like that, obviously that doesn't exist.
But, right.
But, people, when it's like the fucking Phoenix Lights, right? When lots and lots and lots of people describe seeing a very similar thing, they saw something.
Yeah.
Right? They saw something. Like, I don't believe that all these people are lying about this kind of stuff, right? So maybe they didn't see an alien, maybe they didn't see a goblin, but they sure as fuck saw something. And what was it? That's what I want to know.
Yeah, that's what I want to know. And 2 weeks from now, when you tune in to the show, you're going to get to hear a theory on what perhaps it was, and it is going to freak you out even more.
Okay, I don't want to get too much into it because I don't want to give people too much information because I don't want them to like go and research it beforehand. But there are, yeah, right. Thank you,
Good call,
Deladale. If there
yeah.
were owls, there'd be feathers everywhere. Yeah, bullets don't bounce off of fucking owls.
Truth.
Right? Seriously. But it really like blows your mind because these people are fucking missing. These are real human beings, children, family members, right? People who disappear in groups of people, right? There's like one story of a guy who's like toddler, like a 3.5-year-old, went on a hike with like a bunch of family friends, and there was like a group, and the kid was in the middle, and no one had eyes on him for maybe like a couple of seconds. Gone. Just gone. Right? They didn't find a trace of him for like years. They finally found a shoe. But like, how does that happen? Crazy.
We're gonna go into it.
We're gonna find out. We're gonna find out. So Ben, before it's almost that time. What do you have to plug before we say good night?
Well, I want to plug just the channel that we're on, 2MB Studios. Super fun. If you don't follow and subscribe, do so. Like, subscribe, follow us. We have a Patreon at patreon.com/2MB Studios as well. We got some really fun stuff. We got shows 7 days a week on this channel. I host a show on Tuesday night at 9 p.m. Called What's Going On. It's like a weekly roundtable discussion show. This past week, we ended up talking about adult films and their musical adaptations because there's a musical version of Debbie Does Dallas. We talked about all sorts of weird stuff, and there's no set agenda. It's just people tell stories, and we just let the night go wherever it goes. It's super fun. That's 9 p.m.
Really funny, yeah.
9 p.m. on Tuesdays. What about you, Jess?
Well, I'm on a couple of shows on this great channel. On Sundays at 7 p.m., I stream The Sims 4, which is usually simply the Jess Presents Quarantine Action Parenting, which is a loose spinoff of the other show I'm on, Quarantine Action Wrestling, which is very fun, which normally airs Thursdays at 8 p.m., but we are about to go on a 3-week hiatus. So if you like wrestling, if you like sketch comedy, if you like parodies of wrestling that involve sketch comedy, you should tune in for our triumphant return on July 22nd, Thursday, July 22nd at 8 p.m. right here on 2MB Studios.
It's going to be so good.
It's going to be so good. But to tide you over, Sundays at 7 p.m., come watch me play The Sims and fuck up my friends' lives.
I know you did it. I know you named your show this on purpose, but every time I hear it, in my head, I hear Tina Turner going, "You're simply the Jess." Every single time. Every single time. And it just makes me laugh. I love it so much.
Yeah. My roommate, Grace, who plays Claire Bear on QAW, she does it all the time, too. Simply the Jess.
Simply the Jess.
So good. All the rest.
Until then, I think that's the show.
I think that's the show, Ben. I think you're right. So thank you, everyone, so much for joining us. Again, make sure you tune back in for part 2 on July 9th, Friday, July 9th, right here, midnight. For me and Ben, we're gonna spin you quite the yarn. And we hope you enjoyed yourself. We hope you had fun. But mostly, we hope you're creeped out.
See you then, friends. Bye.
Bye-bye.